$100 million in jury verdicts and settlements for serious injury victims, medical malpractice victims, and surviving family members of wrongful death victims. Trial Lawyers for Justice. This is a firm that does not handle frivolous lawsuits. They go after insurance company money, and they're darn good at it. They don't sell their clients out or settle cheaply. Trial Lawyers for Justice, the firm that goes the distance for you, their client. They treat their clients the way you would want your own family members taken care of. Nicholas Rowley, Dominic Pachota, and the other trial lawyers in the firm at Trial Lawyers for Justice, dedicated to representing the people and their families in Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois, California, Wyoming, and many other states. Trial Lawyers for Justice. $100 million in settlements and jury verdicts already in 2016. 888-811-0844. Trial Lawyers for Justice.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard. NFL announced it would keep the Combine at Lucas Oil through 2020. City getting ready to put on the show. Interactive games, access to drills, autographs. This year's revamped Combine, $10 million in economic impact alone for the city. Positive impact, the key reason the NFL was so willing to hand the event to Indy for the next 5 years. The March 2 to 5 event, 31st anniversary of the Combine being held in Indy. Top prospects such as UNC's Mitch Trubisky, who could be the number one overall pick, said he plans on throwing for evaluation. Long-term stability leads to enhanced economic impact for Indy, Lucas Oil Stadium, and the Colts. While the Draft, Pro Bowl, and Super Bowl continue their national rotations, look for the Combine to solidify its strong roots in Indiana. The PGA Tour under new Commissioner Jay Monahan pushing hard to better the fan experience, creating a more customizable viewing experience. The initiatives include allowing viewers to call up leaderboards for stats at will, compare players' performances versus the field, and virtually immerse themselves in situations like hitting shots at the 16th of the Waste Management Open. The tour also transitioning to the next generation of ShotLink, generating more extensive data on players' performance more quickly. ShotLink Plus, as it's dubbed, will entail a complete overhaul of the system. It's been in place for 15 years. The VP of Information Systems, Steve Evans of the tour, said before year's end there will be new stats on various type of putts, uphill versus downhill, putts breaking left or right-handed, for left-handed players, and on. Since professional golf is mostly consumed on TV, keeping abreast of immersive technology critical to capturing the next generation of golf fans. With HB2 still in place, the ACC still reluctant to award any championship games to North Carolina. The ACC plans on announcing future conference championship sites in May, and North Carolina remains in limbo. The ACC in September pulled all its conference championship games from North Carolina for the 16-17 season in the wake of HB2's installment and instatement. The NCAA removed all championships from North Carolina as well for this year, but it's in the process of evaluating North Carolina's fit for events between 2018 and 2022. North Carolina should clearly understand the necessity of political changes to attract all industries, not just sports. I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow, and that's Beyond the Scoreboard.
I'm Eric Newton with your Match.com Together Minute. When you tell your friends about your partner, they believe you. If they think that your relationship is bad for you, they want you to get out of that relationship. That's just how friends are. But this does raise a challenge. When the inevitable difficult times arise, who are you supposed to talk to about that? Well, there are at least two good answers to this. The first is an obvious one. Find a therapist. They're trained to use your challenges as tools for your growth. Friends are often too close to be able to do that. A second option is to be clear with your friends about what you're actually doing. Tell them that you're having one of those inevitable difficult times, but that you're committed to the relationship regardless of the challenges. That transparency sends a signal of strength, but doesn't muddle your relationship. The point either way is be careful what you say to your communities. Your words have more power than you know. I'm Eric Newton with your Match.com Together Minute. To listen to our podcast, visit together.show. 1 in 3 relationships start online, and more start on Match than any other dating site. So if you're single and looking to meet people, you've got to get on Match. They're not only number 1 in first dates, but in second dates too. Meeting your match has never been easier. Just go to Match.com/together, and for a limited time, you can try Match for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search and connect with thousands on Match. So go ahead, create your account now at Match.com/together. That's Match.com/together.
Are you a business owner or an individual who owes the IRS? Then be prepared to write down an important phone number. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? Do you need to file back tax returns? Are you dealing with bank levies and wage garnishments? It's time to deal with your IRS problem today. Call Certified Tax Representation now. Certified Tax Representation, Inc. represents clients just like you in all 50 states. They will contact the IRS on your behalf the same day that you become a client, and you can become a client immediately. It's time for you to face your IRS problems. Think about how great you're going to feel when you're represented by a company who's an advocate for you, who knows the law, who also will contact the IRS the same day you become a client. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. Call now, 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064. Not all cases are typical, and some may not qualify. The consultation is free, and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
Calling all motorheads. It's time to rise up and pay homage to the Freak Nation. Or just flip your fat radio on to Speed Freaks every Sunday night at 7 Pacific on the Sports Byline USA Network. Join me, Kenny Sargent, with Statman and Crash Gladys for a freak of a good time as we drop in on the biggest names in motorsports, from IndyCar to NASCAR, the drags to Supercross, and a big-time rock and roll band from time to time. That's Speed Freaks, Sunday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern on the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard. We've talked about a lot of different things all over the world, the trillion-dollar business of sports. This one, in many ways, may be the most interesting. I got a little history for you. It's January 18, 1896. It was a cold and blustery day. I don't know that. We're going to make up the weather. But University of Iowa plays the University of Chicago. It's the first regular basketball game ever played at a collegiate level. It took 10 years for Duke. Took longer for them to change their name from Trinity, but they played Trinity as Trinity University, lost to Wake Forest. We talked about Virginia's defense now. They lost 24-10 in a college basketball game. I don't know how exciting it was, but it was the first Duke basketball game ever played, then at Trinity. 10 years after the first regular game, cut to 111 years, and nearly 2,100 wins later, a revolutionary new product on the basketball scene that should define the pioneering opportunity for statistics for every geek all over the world, including Duke alum, including existing Duke players, and all of college basketball. And we have some people here who can provide some insight on this. Frank Wheeler, North American Head of Business Development for SAP, and he'll talk about the HANA Cloud database that made this all possible. The Director of Digital Strategy for Duke Athletics, Ryan Craig, who has a formidable broadcasting background, but an even bigger digital background, and from LSI Consulting, Hannes Lombard, analytics partner of Duke, analytics partner for this project. It's a big deal and a big opportunity for Duke undergrads and Fuqua students who are also involved in this whole ambitious effort. And as far as the pioneering of this, we'll have to speak about this long term. It's a great opportunity. Frank Wheeler, tell us a little bit about how you got started with this, the genesis of this project, and where it's been and where it's going.
Well, SAP and Duke have had almost an 18-year relationship. Duke has been running on our SAP R3 system for 18 years, actually tomorrow. But the work with the athletic department started about 4 years ago when I went to visit with Ryan and Mike Saab, one of the associate athletic directors, to really talk about what SAP technology has in store for sports and entertainment, which was a relatively new industry focus for us. And at that time, during our conversations, we uncovered the fact that they had a clean database of every player's box score statistics going back to 1906. And my eyes lit up and said, wow, that's great data that we would love to get on, to understand and do something with. And we asked them if they'd be interested in a project. And from that point, Ryan and I sort of worked together to figure out the structure organizationally of how we can make that that data really come to life.
Well, and we'll talk to Ryan in a second about taking the next step on that. But everybody has ideas. You've seen a million of them, and at SAP there are probably a billion of them. And the idea of statistics for every player who ever played in the program, pretty daunting. And I assume there aren't too many companies in the world that could even begin to deal with that project. So how did you personally take the idea of, hey, this is cool, to the fact that SAP, through their HANA Cloud database, could really make it happen?
Yeah, so it really started with the NBA. In 2013, or prior to that, we had talked to the NBA. They had significant data that they were capturing as well, and they came to SAP for assistance on managing that data, and we put their data on a HANA Cloud platform. And from a quality standpoint and scalability standpoint, it really made that site what it is today. We shared that with the Duke team, and we said, why don't we build something very similar to that? We have the technology. You're already a customer. You're using our analytical tools today. Let's build something unique in the college community, college sports community, and that's what we started developing in Duke Stats.
And obviously it takes the technological acumen and capacity of an SAP to pull it off, but it also takes the ability to implement and transcend and say, we're going to have this happen at a university level. So, Ryan, you have been exposed to Duke Digital. We were talking before the Facebook started 6 years ago. You've been here 6 years, and you began to take the vision of digital as it relates to the overall media earlier than a lot of other schools did too, so you had the upper hand. So when Frank comes to you and says, we want to do this, your first impression, how do you make it happen?
Yeah, and I think we need to give a ton of credit, and thanks, Rick, for having us be a part of this today, to a guy named Curtis Snyder. He's at the University of Colorado now. And in a lot of ways, he started working on this project before he even realized that he was working on this project. He was the one that had to digitize all this data. Somebody had to go into the library and look at the microfilm from 1906. You talked about 24-10 games. You're talking about pre-shot clock era, pre-3-point era. Box scores looked a whole lot different then than they do now.
How many hours did he spend on this total, you think?
You couldn't even calculate it probably now. I guess technically you could, but you need a calculator to do so. You're talking days, weeks, months, years. This became a passion project of his. He spent it a ton of time. It was on his own time. It was not something that he was getting paid to do. It was not something he did as part of his normal work day. He decided to take this on his own and built a database of his own. And what we wanted to do here is just basically breathe a little bit more life into it and make it a little bit more interactive, more engaging.
And stop the Facebook right now. That's the hero. All of these other guys are pretenders. That's the guy we need.
No question. Right? I call him the Godfather. I call him the Godfather.
Yeah, really, and well deserved.
Absolutely, and he earned every single bit of that moniker. And so what we wanted to do basically was again breathe a little bit more life into it, make it even more engaging than it already was, and make it truly a by Duke for Duke project. It's involved a number of people in the undergraduate and graduate community, the Fuqua School of Business, the Computer Science Department, not only just our on campus, but our partners as well in SAP and LSI Consulting. And it's for everybody that considers themselves a part of the Duke community. Myself as an alum, I consider myself part of that community. The people that are going to be in Cameron Indoor Stadium tonight watching Duke play Florida State, the fans of the basketball program, potential student athletes that might want to play here. Anybody that considers themselves a Duke fan or part of the larger Duke community is somebody that is going to find this really fascinating. And it helps close the loop and helps them stay engaged in a way that they never have been able to be before. And we feel like it's a truly unique experience among certainly anybody at the college level. Frank alluded to the work that SAP has done with the NBA, and so we know that it exists at the professional level, but we feel like this is really one of one in terms of the college landscape.
Well, and when Zuckerberg started the whole thing that we're on right now, he's in a Harvard dorm, and there's got to be some understanding of the avidity of relating to colleges, college students, college alum. You add the legacy of Duke basketball on top of that, and you realize you have something special. But your job is, oh, by the way, let's monetize it. Let's figure out how to maximize the engagement. Let's brand it. Let's take Frank's idea, but let's take it to market. And let's make it work. Not easy.
No, not at all. And you have to have a long-range plan. And you have to have good partners and people that have done this before. And you have to understand what it can be, what it is, what it can be in the future. I think we're going to get into a little bit later today. The platform right now is not a finished product. It's up on GoDuke.com right now. You can go to the men's basketball page, scroll down to where it says hashtag Duke MBB stats, and go to town if you want. But it's going to be different tomorrow. It's going to be different a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now. This is by no means the end. It's just the beginning. And, you know, having a vision for what that's going to be and laying out a roadmap that everybody feels comfortable with, I think is one of the hardest parts. A lot of times everybody needs to be on the same page and understand what you want to get out of it. And so we wanted a way for people, much as the NBA did with its stats page, we wanted it to be a sticky experience. People go there and not only answer the question they have about Duke basketball and the statistic they're looking for, but then urge them to ask more questions. And I think that's what we're trying to do. You see it all the time on YouTube. You watch a video, it suggests others. We're trying to help suggest to other people maybe stats or ideas or thoughts that they didn't even know they were going to have. We help them understand that they do have those and then give them a vehicle to find out the answers. And that's very much what this project is all about.
If I told you that there were fans that are so avid about Duke basketball, parentheses like my daughter, who named her first cat Plumlee and second cat Shire, but could also tell you specifically where a basketball player was going to fit in the rankings over the last 40 years, you would say that's what Duke is all about, and that's what our brand is all about.
You said it, it's brand, and that's why you want to align yourselves with great partners. That's why when you do something like this, it can't be anything but exceptional. When somebody goes to this website, goes to this platform and consumes it on their mobile device, on their desktop, they can't leave wondering, well, that really didn't feel very Duke-like. That this team is really great and this program is fantastic and it might be the greatest coach in any sport ever, and yet that website didn't really live up to that brand. It didn't feel like that. And so that was one of the biggest things and most important things we wanted to do, was make sure it felt like Duke.
This family is at home, but they won't be answering the door. They know that the pounding on the door is a process server from the court waiting to hand them foreclosure documents. So instead of enjoying the home they worked so hard to afford, they sit hiding in the dark.
Mom, what was that?
But it doesn't have to be this way. This family can save their home, but they must act fast. Call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions at 800-274-7312. If you're being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, or are upside down on your home, it's critical that you call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions now. 800-274-7312. Allied State Foreclosure Solutions has an attorney in your area that will meet and speak with you. You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312. Not available in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates, and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard. Hannes Lombard of LSI Consulting. And so I won't never make that mistake again, I guarantee you. And so, yeah, I appreciate it. The idea of what the ultimate goal is when you do a position paper and you sell it upstream. Is it monetization? Is it awareness? Is it brand building? Is it a combination?
I think it's a combination, and it's absolutely, and all of those I think are equal, right? Because it can be a combination, and it's 95-5, but in a lot of ways, this was something that we wanted to be a part of our program. We wanted to offer this to our fans, and if we're able to encourage people to stay within our ecosystem on GoDuke.com, maybe have some cross-marketing opportunities with tickets or donations, fantastic, all the better. But a lot of this, too, was we appreciate the passion that Duke fans have for Duke basketball. They sleep outside for months at a time to go to sit at a game.
In lieu of going to classes sometimes.
Exactly. And I was in that tent at one point. So the fans certainly give everything of themselves to Duke, and we want to be able to give as much as we can back.
I think what was also, you mentioned the term stickiness earlier, having the Duke students be part of the design and build guaranteed that it was going to have the stickiness from a fan perspective, because there's no one crazier than the camera crazies when it comes to stats on their men's basketball team. And I think the foundation that we developed 3-4 years ago and what we have today, as Ryan says, it continues to evolve and add more and more things. The basis for the project structure was perfect. And it's different than what we've done with the NBA or what we've done with the NHL and others, because the For Duke by Duke is really the key motto for everything here. And it continues to evolve, and the work that you guys are doing on this is great.
And it's something that Ryan kept on telling us up front before we started to staff the project, before we started to look at specifications. Ryan kept on saying, by Duke, for Duke, it's got to be the theme. And we had some other technology themes as well, but getting the conceptual success criteria in place, that was a big part of the success.
Yeah. Well, the fan avidity clearly is important in any project, and it's clearly important here, where you have the built-in avidity, history, legacy, Coach K, the whole dynamic of it. Frank Wheeler, SAP, why don't you introduce Hannes Lombard and talk a little bit about why LSI has been a perfect partner?
Yeah, so Hannes and team, so we've been working with LSI for years. LSI is a great certified partner within the SAP community. They've done a lot of work with us in the higher education space. A lot of our university customers are using LSI for a number of different things, and analytics is one of your specialties in your EVP, the partner, the analytics practice within LSI.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's been a great partnership with SAP and LSI.
And it'd be much more sophisticated. He has grabbed the mic and put it closer to you, okay, versus the boss.
I'm trying to share this.
I can't say how honored we are to be here from LSI Consulting. We got the phone call. Frank reached out, and we started talking to Ryan. We knew that this was going to have to be a different project, very agile, a lot of work at night, a lot of work on weekends. Get the vision right. Ryan kept on repeating the vision to us, so he made it very easy to us. And I think a big part of this also is the repeatable platform using in-memory computing capabilities from SAP. So a big part of that. Yeah.
Why don't you do a little bit of a demo for us? We'll look at the top of the screen and walk through just a couple of things that are important that summarize it.
I can. I'll dive a little bit here.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan. No one better than Ryan.
Yeah, that's fine. And I don't know how we want to. Maybe Hans, actually, if you want to we're going
to do it up here. Why don't we just project it on your forehead?
That's fine too.
No, is that
it's big enough. It's big. It's getting bigger
that's for you.
By the way.
That's not for me. We're not going to touch it.
All right. So as we take a look here, I mentioned again, this is the beginning, not the end, but it's a pretty darn good beginning. This is the home screen that you come to when you see. Again, you go to GoDuke.com, men's basketball page down there at the bottom. # Duke MVP stats. There's an obvious social component to that. It's meant to be shared on social media. It's meant to be propagated on social media, and that's the screen you look at when you first arrive. It's got some pretty high-level numbers in terms of the success that Duke has had there in the bottom right, the all-time record. Rick, you mentioned 2,100 wins plus and counting. It's got the current season leaders, what we've done recently, where we're going. As you can see, we've got a game here in an hour and 25 minutes, so as soon as we're done here, you can flip over to one of the ESPN family of networks and check that out. But as we take a second here to just sort of walk through a couple of the different components, pretty much anything that you could want on any particular player, on any particular team, you're going to find here. If it's happened on the court, home or away in Duke basketball since 1906, it is represented here. So if we take a quick look.
Did everybody just hear the dynamic statement? Every player, every stat since 1906.
1906.
That's 111 years.
Yeah.
No doubt. And that's
you can't say enough about the importance of getting the data right and the availability of data. Because I think a lot of colleges might not go back all the way to 1906. Right. That was the foundation of this.
Well, they will now. Yeah. What's that guy's name again? Ryan?
So this is Luke Kennard.
No, not Luke Kennard. Okay. We all know who Luke Kennard is.
Curtis Snyder is the Luke Kennard of digitized data.
Yeah, right. But can't shoot free throws like he can. Right?
No, maybe not. I don't know. I've never seen him
the Luke
try.
Kennard of digitized data, ladies and gentlemen.
He should have been here.
Yeah. So, for instance, Curtis Snyder, Luke Kennard, we'll take a look here at what he's done. And just honestly, right away, you can see there are the totals and whole numbers. There are the averages for the 2 seasons or the 1 season plus that he's been here. You can go through all of these different areas. It's broken down, conference play, what he's done in the postseason. It lists every game that he has played in. You go to career highs, and it lists, in this case, points, but you can change the stat to field goal percentage, field goals made. All of this is meant to be and is optimized for mobile consumption. So obviously we're looking at it on a desktop here, but you can look at it on your tablet, your smartphone. So all of these drop downs and the navigation and the functionality is meant for mobile and, again, optimized for mobile. So it's going to work really easily and quickly. If you're on the go, if you're at a bar and you're trying to settle a bet, if you're in an argument with a friend at a holiday party, you can settle these things once and for all right away. You'll notice at the top right as well, there's a social media integration. That's one of the most fascinating parts because what platforms do you get into, right? They change all the time. Right. A couple of years ago, Frank, you'll remember the first iteration of this, the kind of phase 1, if you will, of hashtag Duke MBB stats, there was Facebook and Twitter. That's it. And since then, we've seen the rise of LinkedIn, the rise of Google+. Certainly Instagram was nowhere near those other two, and now, particularly within certain demographics, is very much the place that people reside. So quickly and easily, you can share this with fellow fans or adversaries, if you will, that are trying to argue a particular point with you. And again, you can use that hashtag to be able to share this stuff quickly and easily.
Hashtag Duke MBB stats, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got it. And that's the actual title of the platform itself. That's how it's described on GoDuke.com because we wanted that branding to be consistent. There's the fluidity of the name. It'll be called that anywhere that it appears. So there's a little bit of the individual. Again, you can get into seasons. You can change the season. We've got every year represented. You can go to the schedule and results. If you look at this year's team, I always like looking at this one as an example. This was Duke's 50-plus point win over Georgia Tech.
Yeah, focus on the wins, all right? Don't focus on the losses.
Exactly. We'll focus on the ones with the check mark next to the Blue Devils.
Right.
But you can see ranking, record, where it took place. There you see the Duke stats. We can go over to the Georgia Tech stats. There's a printable box score if you want. You can get down into here. You've got all the different percentages, all points in the paint, points off turnovers. All of this different stuff is available for every game.
And the long-term permutations are incredible, right? So if you wanted to compare what Williams or Trajan Langdon or Jay Billis did those years versus what Frank Jackson's doing this year and compare, you're able to do that.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly.
It's your LSAT stuff and the SAP HANA Cloud database.
And that's a global quest for actionable information. The more data you can get, the more trends you can pick up from the data. So
can I quote you? Global quest for actionable information.
Exactly.
That was lost in the muttering. That was like really. That was good.
That was legit.
No, you didn't. You couldn't. No, if you
did, you
wouldn't be here, pal. You'd be doing something more important. That was really good. Got it.
And then, you can search for your favorite players in here as well. You type in Williams so you can see Jason Williams or Jay Williams, as he's often referred to now, Sheldon Williams. If you're interested in J.J. Redick, perhaps, you can go in here and just find him quickly and easily.
Locations and numbers of tattoos?
Yeah,
as well?
Not quite there. That's on the product roadmap.
Next, on the roadmap.
Yeah. It's always on the roadmap.
Okay.
But here, this is what J.J. Redick did in his time. Obviously, one of the most famous former Blue Devils, is numbers up in the rafters, having a great career now with the L.A. Clippers, who are going to make some noise in the Western Conference playoffs. And then one of the more really interesting things that we've added into, as we talk about sort of these subsequent phases, player tracking information, SportView information. Duke was the first collegiate venue to install the SportView cameras. Some other college teams had it at their home venues, but it was because they were playing in NBA arenas. We were the first collegiate venue to have it. And so you can just take a look at some of the shot charts that we've had over the years. You can go in here. This is Duke's game against Notre Dame at the end of last year. And if you'll notice on the right side, I'm looking at the Duke shot chart. You can see only the shots that Grayson Allen took. You can take him off. You can put the shots that Marshall Plumlee took, and Luke Kennard, and Matt Jones if you wanted to. So as many people or as few people as you want to examine, you could do that to your heart's content. Every game, every player, and there's just so much left to be done. Fascinating things that are on the roadmap, not only the tattoos, of course, Rick, that you just mentioned, but computational journalism. That's one where we're going to be able to automatically generate insights through an applied algorithm that some of the folks here in the computer science department, faculty, graduate and undergraduate students, again, we alluded to the involvement, the entire for Duke, by Duke, and they can actually apply that to this data set and generate insights that are absolutely incredible. It's, Luke Kennard was the first player, I believe this is true. If not, we can double check it. But Luke Kennard was the first player in Duke history to have 30 points in a game and 6 or more made threes without a miss. He did that, I believe it was against Wake Forest when he hit the three in the final seconds. And now we know that. You wouldn't even potentially know to ask that question.
Right.
But this algorithm can not only ask it for you, but find out the answer.
I'm Eric Newton with your Match.com Together Minute. Quizzing older couples on marriage, you hear this quite a lot. Marriage is far more about managing details than it is about living in cinematic passion. Sure, the exciting and romantic bits are part of marriage too, but the small administrative details take up far more time than you would ever imagine. And the stress of procrastination only gets amplified in marriage. So handling the list and doing it as a team creates a sense of unity that works its way into all of the areas of your life. So this suggests 2 considerations. First, if you can, choose a partner with whom you work well. But don't rely on that. Second, and most importantly, learn the basics of project management together. These are not skills that we're born with, and they're much more challenging with a partner than they are alone. It takes practice, my friends, and that's part of the work. I'm Eric Newton with your Match.com Together Minute. To listen to our podcast, visit together.show. 1 in 3 relationships start online, and more start on Match than any other dating site. So if you're single and looking to meet people, you've got to get on Match. They're not only number 1 in first dates, but in second dates too. Meeting your match has never been easier. Just go to Match.com/together, and for a limited time, you can try Match for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search and connect with thousands on Match. So go ahead, create your account now at Match.com/together. That's Match.com/together.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-405-2561. 800-405-2561. 800-405-2561. That's 800-405-2561.
The Lodge at Tiburon is steps from the ferry docks and nestled among Tiburon's upscale boutiques, charming cafes, and unique galleries. Dine at the award-winning Tiburon Tavern, serving innovative dishes prepared with ingredients grown in our very own gardens, starting from $199 a night. Join us at the Lodge at Tiburon and create long-lasting memories. For reservations, call 1-877-614-6068. Join us at the Lodge at Tiburon or go to lodgeattiburon.com.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow, the sports professor. We return from where we left off. Rick, Duke, SAP, and more.
We are going to be adding functionality to allow people to generate their own infographic. Obviously, that's a very social-friendly element as well. So we've got a number of different things, both from a fan engagement perspective and from an analytics perspective and statistical perspective, that we want to add formulaic advances in the way that we're looking at the stats that we currently have, but also on into more of the player tracking stuff. So, we're very proud of what this is today, and I'm equally as excited about where we're headed with our partners here.
And the other bottom line, too, of this is that, as you said, maybe in a different way, this provides a template and a beginning of a whole bunch of different analysis. I loved the computational journalism. That's something that is way beyond my area of expertise. But as it relates to a curriculum and also to be able to create a template for other schools, we'll talk about other roadmaps before we end here. But you're on the cutting edge of technology in a lot of different ways, and with SAP as a partner, it's a great combination.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it takes us back to the technology key concepts. It's got to be repeatable. It's got to be easy to expand on. It's got to perform. It's sitting on in-memory computing with SAP HANA. But the other key point also is that all of this is using SAP technology. Thank me later, Frank.
Check us in the mail.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But
Clearly,
it had to be repeatable. Inside one college, multiple sports, also go to other colleges, and I think we definitely achieved that.
So the quality of the data, the analysis. Yeah. So as a template, kind of, if anybody in all schools, not even just D1, but I'm sure that other schools are going to have a little bit of trouble going back through their history, but that's a great intern assignment, for example. Who owns the data? How do you get it? How do you mill it? How do you mine it? What's the take from all of you guys on all of that?
So the data is always going to be sitting in different places. We take data from any source. Doesn't matter where the data lives. We can get to the data. The data quality is important. How much data do they have available? What's the quality of the data? And then based on where we get the data, we can expand this, get more data in, and make it available as information.
Do you think a lot of it is out there? I mean, Duke was fortuitous because somebody went back through 06, but there was a legacy. Your standard D1 program, is it all out there somewhere?
I mean, we've talked to a number of other universities that are customers of SAP that saw what we had built with Duke Stats, and they fall short a little bit in a number of areas. Number one, having the amount of data going back to 1906 is pretty unique. But then having it in a clean database that is reliable information, I don't know if there's a lot of Curtis Snyders out there at other schools that are doing what he did.
All it takes is one.
It only takes one.
Right.
And the conversations that we've had with other schools, they're certainly interested in what we're building. I think what we're building in the future on visualizations and the computations, I don't think there's any other college stats website that does what this does, even in this format today.
Yeah, clearly not. But it is it's an aspirational opportunity because not everybody has Fuqua students, but everybody has avid fans of their respective programs who can dig deep and dig back. And I'm assuming that if this is you can figure out, of course, how to provide data that's not like the Duke, but close.
Hannes and I have discussed this as a package solution offering for other schools that have rich tradition in data that want to showcase that for their fans and for their alumni on their website. Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal.
Yeah. And it's a hosted solution, private cloud, totally protected. No one else can get to the data. The data sits in a private instance on the HANA database. And I just want to get back to the HANA database itself and the benefit of getting the data into it. Now you start to build up history, and the more history you have, the more you can get into the predictive analytics stuff and get into the real important stuff.
Yeah. What about other sports? There is a proprietary nature of this for particular Duke and 06, but SAP is clearly the biggest, the best, the most forward-thinking, and Frank, you have the corner on vision in this context. Is there a franchisable opportunity using the HANA database to provide some really significant, over-the-top, unique data as we enter the mobile age even further?
Absolutely. I mean, we've done it with the NHL and NHL stats.
Yeah.
We've done it with NBA and NBA stats. We've actually done it with projects where we've taken data from aggregators like video or sensors on the players and pulled that information and created custom views of things like for soccer or football. We've done a penalty insights app where we've taken all the penalty kicks in a major league like EPL or Bundesliga, offer that as a solution, put a custom front end on it, and now the goalkeeper coach can work with the goalkeeper and analyze the team that they're about to play and look at all of the guys that might kick a goal, a penalty kick, and all of the analysis on those the previous penalty kicks that those players have made is available to them. So
it's not just luck, ladies and gentlemen. It's the HANA database. It's not just luck.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But we've got a lot of those examples, whether it's analytics, statistics. The HANA platform is the basis for a lot of that. And I think you mentioned it earlier, the collection of the data for HANA is easy. If you've got the data set and you want to visualize that data or put it into a custom application, that's what we're best at. Yeah.
Are you proud of what you've created?
Absolutely. And in fact, I don't know if we're done
Yes.
here, we can probably just re-seat ourselves.
Sit down.
It might be easier on Frank.
I'm much taller than
our
this.
microphone.
And I feel
we
real
did not
bad.
adjust the seats according to Frank's specifications.
And by the way, I feel really bad to allow a rogue former journalist to continue to talk. So just answer the specific question.
That's fine. That's fine. I won't filibuster anymore. I promise. No, we're absolutely quite proud. And if I may divulge, if I may digress here.
Go.
I'll give a brief story about myself. No.
Yeah, it's very brief.
Yeah.
No story about himself.
Yeah. No, of course we're very proud. And honestly, I'm as proud of the process as I am of the result, because what we've done is we've built a tremendous foundation, something that is repeatable, something that is expandable. You can go at these things in a lot of different ways. You can go for sort of quick wins that are going to be really impressive on the front end, and then you're lagging on some of the foundational elements that you need for it to be successful long term. And it took us a little bit longer, but that was by design. It was a much more deliberate process than I had perhaps anticipated. But I was very happy to go through that process, and with Frank and his team, and with Hannes and his team, and Andrew Barnaby has just been a huge part of this project. Kieran Mahendele has been a huge part of this project for LSI Consulting. I want to make sure that they're recognized as well, because at times it can be pulling teeth, and it can you're wanting so desperately for there to be these huge steps forward, but that's not the right thing to do. And what we've done is the right thing to do, and now we've got a very high quality product that I can't wait for the rest of the world to see. And because of the way that we've laid that foundation, we can get on into the quote, more exciting things, that the more bells and whistle type things. But none of that is possible, and none of it is sustainable unless you've gone about it with kind of the deliberate way that we have.
Hannes, let me give you that perspective, closing comment too. Obviously you're proud. Where do you think this is going in 5 years? How hard has it been to put together? Comment on the journey.
I think and before I do that, I want to throw in another name, Andre Bellamy, who also worked on the solution. He's down in Atlanta, and he's sitting at his phone waiting for a call to just come and see Cameron indoor. So hopefully one day we can make it happen. I think the proudest or the biggest achievement here is the fact that we pulled this off after hours, essentially, at nights and on weekends, because all of our consultants working full-time other projects, and working 5-6 different projects, which is also the name of the game of analytics. It has to be done in a agile, non-full-time fashion. It's very different to 10-15 years ago. Analytics way back was sort of more reporting as opposed to true analytics, and who knows where analytics, the science, is going to be in another 5 years. I think the key thing with this solution can handle 100 million records easily using the database. So HANA is really an enabler as opposed to just a database or a appliance. So
I think the new technologies, data visualization, we talked about it today with the students that are working on the next generation of this.
And they grew up with us, with iPhones.
Right.
Well,
and
not this old one, but the
that's
new
an old
one.
But the ideas that they're coming up with to add on to this are incredible. We're talking about doing a hackathon here in a couple of months on this as the baseline and having guys give us new visualizations of what they can do with the information.
Make sure Coach K is in and know the ACC coaches. Okay, that would be very important. Keep the information close to your vest, right?
But I think visualization, I think predictive, I think is going to be something that's going to start affecting what we do here. We've seen it in other areas as well. And the need for player comparatives, which I think is one of the more requested feature function of most of these types of statistics. The way that they're able to compare and contrast players, I think, will change and evolve over the next couple of years as well.
And I know, well, I want one more comment from you because this is, I think, really important as well. And you and I have talked about this, and it's not gratuitous. You're sitting at the cutting edge of an absolutely unbelievable international global visionary company. And that company, your casual comment about 100 million opportunities, 100 million data points, well, that's significant. It's not a throwaway. And your ability to take a company that is, what's the number, 74% of all commercial transactions SAP touches? Well, when I first did that was an incredible stat to me, but it gives you the ability to empower a Duke, empower kids, empower my daughter who owns a cat named Plumley, a variety of different contexts to go to the next step. So it's not just 5 years, but I assume you believe that SAP will continue to be on the cutting edge of all of these activities.
We do it in sports and entertainment for 4 years, and it's now an official formalized industry within SAP, which means we're going to be doing it for another 40. And the HANA platform has been able to really change the game in terms of how people manage data, whether that's in healthcare or retail or financial services, and here we're doing it in sports and entertainment.
Hannes Lombard, thank you very much. Frank Wheeler,
nice
thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
Ryan, Craig, audition passes. You'll deal with journalism back to WRAL. Thank you very much. And just let me give you one quick perspective. I don't know if I'm competent to say this in my over 60 years of being on this earth, but this is effectively the Dead Sea Scrolls of sports statistics in this organization here. Everything you ever wanted to know, and it's not just a template that relates to Duke. It's a template that relates to all sports. It's a great consulting entity in LSI. It's obviously a visionary athletic program with the branding nonpareil, and it's a company that's international in scope to be able to pull it all together. Where does it go? Well, its legacy, obvious no-brainer is the 347 D1 schools and 32 conferences, and there are 4,500 players who today play D1. Well, that's just D1, and that's just today's players. Then you go to the next scope, as you said earlier. It's the avid fan, the plug, and I've said this a few times, but my daughter was a 4-year person. She named her first cat Plumley, her second cat Shire, and she was all excited about this. There aren't too many things that will get her excited, and this is one. The engagement, how many alums are there of Duke who are still living? Millions.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch. Yeah, I mean it's 6-7 figures certainly. What's interesting. It's a smaller private school, but its brand is so far-reaching. I mean, obviously it's a global entity, and so we have a lot of people that probably consider themselves alumni of Duke because they've given so much of themselves, as much if not more than the people that have actually matriculated here. And so if you include all of those people, the larger Duke community that I alluded to earlier, you're well into the millions at that point.
So if you create a perfect storm with a visionary company that has the capacity to pull this off on a global level, a consulting company that can put this together and evolve it over time, and a school, small school, but an incredible brand, not only for basketball, but about life, postgraduate work, etc., and a passionate set of alumni, this is it.
Are you a business owner or an individual who owes the IRS? Then be prepared to write down an important phone number. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? Do you need to file back tax returns? Are you dealing with bank levies and wage garnishments? It's time to deal with your IRS problem today. Call Certified Tax Representation now. Certified Tax Representation, Inc. represents clients just like you in all 50 states. They will contact the IRS on your behalf the same day that you become a client, and you can become a client immediately. It's time for you to face your IRS problems. Think about how great you're going to feel when you're represented by a company who's an advocate for you, who knows the law, who also will contact the IRS the same day you become a client. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. Call now, 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064. Not all cases are typical, and some may not qualify. The consultation is free, and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
Are you an inventor who would like to try to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to companies, but you don't know what to do next? Call for free information from InventHelp. InventHelp, a leading inventor service company, has been helping inventors since 1984 and has sales offices located in more than 60 cities nationwide. You'll want to talk to the company that has helped secure more than 7,000 invention patents. So call InventHelp. Even if you have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll still want to call InventHelp for free information. You'll find out how InventHelp may assist you in trying to patent your invention and submit it to companies. So call now.
Call InventHelp at 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. Get your free information by dialing 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. 1-800-316-1738.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, and if you're a stats geek, hashtag Duke MBB Stats, men's basketball, a joint development opportunity between SAP and its HANA Cloud database, along with LCI Consulting, and Duke as far as their athletic department and their Fuqua School of Business. They've had students go back and find every stat for every Duke basketball player since 1906 and put together a program which will allow students as stats geeks to get all of those statistics. Certainly a great brand and a great opportunity with a great company. Take a look at what they're teaching. Computational journalism, player insight analytics, player comparisons, create your own infographics, formulaic advanced metrics, and more. Complicated, clearly, but the bottom line is it might be a trend as far as mobile devices, new metrics, SAP technology, and obviously Duke Analytics. What a combination and what a brand.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow. This is Beyond the Scoreboard. Major League Baseball might have found a new streaming partner in Facebook. MLB and the social media site are in talks to live stream one game per week during the upcoming season. It could be a key win as the social media platform works to offer live sports. Over the past few years, social media platforms significantly increased their sports streaming involvement. Twitter's deal with the NFL, for example. Facebook pushed to sign deals with owners of sports rights to live stream their games, going after an audience that other social media platforms currently try to tap into as well. The two sides still in preliminary talks, unclear which games or what teams would be streamed via Facebook in 2017. And if an MLB deal is struck, complement Facebook's live streaming of Liga MX matches, global basketball games, and table tennis. Facebook continues to increase its product line, market reach, and global penetration. Look for more international live stream deals in the years ahead.
Mano a mano, the Olympic battle. Well, Budapest withdraws, citing budgetary concerns for 2024. Now, game on. Romantic, historical, successful with the World Cup. Paris, the budget is there as well. On the other hand, Los Angeles certainly knowing how to put on a World Cup. The U.S. cuts a deal with the IOC, a revenue-sharing deal that was better than when New York or Chicago bid 4 and 8 years ago. A great race. We'll have to see how it ends. I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow, and that's Beyond the Scoreboard.